Hi, this is Arik.
And Aurelia.
And we're here to talk about life and interesting things.
Or so we think, but in the end, you're going to be the judge of it.
Either way, what we have to talk about today is Ageless. Happy summer solstice, Aurelia.
Can't believe it already is summer, but yeah, thank you.
Does it feel like summer?
No, externally it really doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Internally, yes, I can feel the heat, like the summer, the shift of the energy. I can, but looking outside,
Yeah.
I don't have a summer feeling at all.
And it's not just with the eclipse, that we had, it's just really just things are kind of crazy.
Yes.
I feel for myself, like I feel that it's summer and that it's Cancer season. Yeah, that I feel. Like every season, like how a lot of people, they feel like, oh, it's the holidays and you feel the energy. I feel like that every month with a different zodiac season.
Yeah, that's nice.
So I can relate with you, like on the internal, like how it feels like summer on the inside, but it doesn't really look like summer. And also it's so interesting because you just said that last night, that this is the first summer or the first July, June Cancer season, solstice, really.
Yeah.
That, and I mean, we're in the month of Cancer, like we have, and it's actually just hitting me now even deeper, because the first time you said it, as usual, I doesn't really process.
Thank you for admitting that
because it's
on
like
podcast.
When it's like an intense shock like that, like that we're not traveling.
No, we're not. It's the first time in so many years I can't even remember.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Because, Google showed me my 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that kind of thing. And we were all over the place. And this year we're still quarantined, I guess.
Like that's part of like our ritual. It's just part of our astrological wellness. And I feel like that's a really big shock, like kind of in retrospect, even though I'm really grateful for what it is. I also was getting these Google pictures. And I was looking, I was like, oh, I want to post this, like, picture when we were in Cinque Terre or Italy and stuff like that. And it was like, oh, this is depressing.
I agree.
I'm not going to post this. I mean, but it's also just, in a way, I guess a good way to look at it is that technically we are traveling because we're traveling home, in a way, because we're not anywhere. And so that's new for us. So in the mind, we have now traveled to a new place because we've never really been home during the solstice.
That's true. That's intense. Yeah.
Because we have like solar returns coming up and all kinds of stuff, and so it's interesting. Yeah,
totally. And I mean, even if it's like last year, it was more or less, travel on business because you had spoken at this Congress in Moscow. But still, it was travel, and then we stayed longer, and, we had like all these fun things.
Of course, you have to mix it.
It's just, even if it was not strictly just for pleasure and for, relaxation and stuff.
So I guess then, let me ask you this: Can you be spiritual while you're on vacation? Or is vacation a break from spirituality? Because, well, just answer.
Well, for me, obviously, there is no break in spirituality. That is so funny because, spirituality is everything.
Yeah, but
without spirituality, there is nothing. And if I go on vacation, then it's just a different environment for me to be spiritual. I mean, I still do my meditations, I still do my practice, I bring light to a different place.
Yeah, but like when I'm on vacation, I don't have to like go to church, or I don't have to go to temple, or I don't have to like, get on, to class or anything like that. Like I'm allowed to like take a break.
Yeah, well, since when is going to temple or to church has anything to do with spirituality?
Beautiful. Elaborate.
I mean, I don't even know how to say that, but... Okay, let's just have another example of my experience-rich life, okay? So...
Adorable. I can't wait.
Last week, my sister and I, we were in church. We were at a requiem.
During COVID?
Yeah. Yeah, like they opened the church and they... it's actually a funny story. Like they put up candles in the pews, where you can sit and there's enough room like for families can sit together or something. And so we're going there, and I mean I cannot speak for her, but I haven't been in church for I don't know, probably 7-8 years since our dad died.
You are at church,
and thank you. So anyway, like we're going there and like not really knowing what we're doing. Like we're finding a place to sit and not too close to the family because, for whatever personal reasons, we weren't that close, but you had to show up. You know how it is when somebody dies.
But there was social distancing.
That was social distancing. And so anyway, we were sitting in this pew and then... all of a sudden, like, we hear this man saying, like, oh, yeah, I can sit here because here's a candle. And we go like, oh, my God, where we're sitting, there is no candle. But then we say, okay, but now we're sitting already, whatever, there aren't that many people. Then the priest comes and he looks at us.
You're sinning.
Straight on to us and explains that, with COVID and social distancing, like we are only supposed to sit where candles are, and we're still not moving, but he's like staring us down. So this is very much in the front. So we have to get up and move to another pew, and obviously, so here we wanted to be very incognito
or respectful of the space aside from social distancing. Like the way I understand it is that you didn't want to go and sit right next to the family because, you want to respect them. They're grieving, and that's a different energy. You don't want to pick that up, like you just heal them, whatever. So you're respecting one rule, but then another rule forced you to violate another rule. That's interesting. Right.
So anyhow, so we relocated, so to speak, and everybody saw it, all eyes on us.
Aurelia is transiting the pew.
That's right. So... that was number one, all eyes on us. And what my story really is about is that then there were quite many people actually, because, it's like a well-known family in the city and political, they have influence and blah, blah, blah. Either way, so many people who are somebody have been there. And the requiem was it was amazing. It was so beautifully staged, and, there was this amazing singer, and, I mean, the priest was fabulous. I don't know where they got him from. Like, I've never heard of him. It was really, really beautiful. So, now singing was a little bit of a problem because behind the mask, that really doesn't work. So... I couldn't do that. I felt like God wants to hear my voice. So I would, like, when we were singing, I would, like, flip up the mask and just, like, belch it out a little bit. So I wasn't scolded for that. Maybe nobody knew. Either way. Then it's time for the Eucharist. And so the priest says, okay, anybody who wants to receive the Eucharist, because of COVID, he will just come to everybody in the pew and give it personally. And so who wants it has to stay standing and everybody else can sit. And then it went without, speaking about it, that my sister and I, we wanted to receive it. And, being good Catholic raised girls and still, Jesus my hero.
Yeah, for sure.
And so we were standing and everybody was sitting. So we both got kind of insecure and started to sit. And then the priest, like, he had ventured towards us, and then he stopped. And then I thought, oh, maybe he goes to the family first. And they're just slow getting up. But they stayed sitting. And then I realized, no, I understood that right. Who wants it has to stand up. So I'm standing up again. And my sister, like, she stands up again. And then the priest comes, and I swear to God, like as far as I could see, we were the only ones standing.
To receive the Eucharist.
To receive the Eucharist of this like whole church. I mean, and then he went all the way in the back, and I had the feeling that maybe the choir, got it and stuff like that. But he was also back so fast. The whole thing was over in no time. I looked at my sister, she looked at me, we started crying.
Yeah, I believe it.
And afterwards, we were in such shock, and we talked about it. We said, if you do not believe in these things, why have a requiem?
Yeah.
Why be there at all? I mean, a requiem by all means is like the Tibetans would, call it like a part of a poa prayer, like
nice.
Where really you give the consciousness of the deceased to God, the universe, the creator, like for a good rebirth, yada, yada, yada. None of that was happening. I mean, this was really, so here you have it. Like, there was nothing spiritual about it. Like, all these people were in church, but they had not a spiritual inkling at all. They did not get the meaning of what was going on.
Right. It was, and I mean, in some cases it could be like, that's where the family has the requiem, and then like people just have to go there. But I mean, this is conservative religious Bavaria.
Yes.
I mean, most people here should be like practicing Catholicism.
Yeah.
And so that's really quite a shock.
Yes, we were seriously shocked. And so that's why I say, like, you can go to church, and I'm sure a lot of them, especially the politicians, like you say, because this is conservative, Catholic Bavaria, if they want to have their constituents to be happy, they have to show up in church. But hey,
it's not authentic
it's
for
not
the
authentic
practice,
because,
it's authentic for their career.
Exactly, because, it comes from inside. Spirituality is something that's inside. I'm spiritual when I'm, like, shopping at the supermarket,
for sure. I mean, but this, if this is someone's connection to spirituality through religion, for example, or whatever it is, then I mean, that would be something that you would want to take a break from, because that's more of like just really not even spirituality at all.
That's right.
And I think that if you're not really excited about your spirituality, like where it's like, oh my gosh, I want to like do what it is that I need to do, whatever it is, because everyone has their own path, right? If you're not really excited about it, then it's not the right path, or you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you need that, like, the excitement is the connection.
Yeah, because I remember, with my dad, who was really a practicing Catholic, and so, I mean, even though he was a yogi, excuse me, when we were on vacation as kids, for example, he loved to go to the Alps and to northern Italy and like all of that. And then if we would go to church, we would go there. And I mean, we did not really understand what they were saying, but it didn't matter because we knew our church. So
I mean, a mass in Italian or Spanish is really powerful.
Yeah, and I think we could just follow because we knew what was going on, and you better believe we were going.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, we're always doing, our spiritual. I mean, we never don't do it, Exactly. It's always like, I mean, even just on an external level, of course, remember I've been teaching classes in the middle of
yeah, I know.
or doing the internal work too. Like, okay, so what is, I mean, a lot of times you see, you can see people who are selfish on vacation, and it's like, okay, what is reflecting inside of me? You know what I mean? Like, just a lot of times this kind of stuff can come up. So there's plenty of work to do. Not that anybody is going to really be going on vacation right now. I mean, there are certain countries that are open and whatnot, but I don't really feel good about it. But
I do not want to go to the beach with my mask on.
Me either. I don't want. Yeah. You get a mask tan. Like you get it's a whole like you get tan lines. You come back and you're like your whole mouth and nose is white, and you have the little strings, and then
then you can pretend to wear a mask when you go shopping.
Yeah, that's a really good one. But I think this kind of segues into another topic that was actually also requested, and I think it's a really good topic, like about the spirituality, just kind of moving away from the religion aspect of it. Is like, if you are in a relationship with somebody and say you're spiritual and they're not so spiritual, like, you know, like if you're a woman and your husband or your partner is very spiritual, or vice versa, what can you do? And there's probably different methods for each. I mean, I haven't really let's just start with anything. Like, how can you make your partner more spiritual? And then how will you know that they're actually doing it? I guess it kind of comes back to, you can't change people.
Well, the easiest way, you know, to bring your partner to spirituality is actually through sexual intercourse, like to physical union. Because, I mean, this is the fastest way to raise our vibration and to raise our energy. So if I'm a woman and my partner is not spiritual, then it is really up to me to, while making love to my partner, raise his vibration above the physical.
I just want to, interject in here just for a second and say that one of our really exciting announcements that is coming soon is that we have been inspired to create another version of Ageless, which we are calling Ageless, but the version we call it is Speechless. And there we are going to be really getting into, like, we would get deeper into this subject, for example. We also get into quote-unquote politically incorrect things. Like, we really talk about, without any reservations, what's going on. Because a lot of you have noticed Aurelia takes a pause before she answers, and she explained to me it's not that she's thinking what to say, like what the answer is. She's thinking what's appropriate for the public. Right? Is that the best way to explain it?
Yeah, that's right. Like for the audience that I'm speaking to.
Yeah, because when something is free, the vessel is smaller.
Yes.
But we're going to be offering this as a package program. We're going to have this in different levels, and it's going to, we can then talk really more about deep things like that. So I guess then that's like, the short answer is sexual intercourse.
Yes.
Like sexuality. Like, that's really cool. So, yeah, that's our exciting announcement that we want to announce. So please stay tuned for information on that. And we're going to be getting into more of Ageless right after this. This episode of Ageless is brought to you by Aurelia Essential Oils. Wellness for you and everyone around you. Visit AureliaEssentialOils.com to shop online. All right, we are back, and the second part of Aegis in the first episode of Summer. And I want to ask you, what is ASMR? I mean, I know, of course, what it stands for. It's like really popular, with Gen X, the homeland, not Gen X, but the homeland generation, and like there's YouTube channels and stuff. Like even people come to my channel for ASMR for my balancings and stuff like that. I mean, it's just kind of interesting. But, it's the autonomous sensory meridian response. And it's where there's this like sensation, like this tingle that starts, this is what they say, like at the scalp. And then it moves down the back, like of the neck. So I guess, perhaps the governing meridian, like the moon, and then up their spine, and people feel like really relaxed by it. And I know that we've talked about it, and like people were like coming to my channel and stuff like that, but it's just like really relaxing for them. But I feel like there's just something that needs to be clarified about that, because it's like this, almost like this euphoric state that they get put into. I don't know if you want to say anything to that, or, you know, like with the different channels, like, can it be damaging?
It can be damaging because what it really is, you know, it's like a forced way to stimulate kundalini energy.
Okay.
And
wait, what's kundalini? Yeah.
Like that's our life force.
Right, that's
energy.
the English word for it. Yeah, okay. Life force.
So, and the way we can imagine that is like there is a channel up the spine and down the spine, like, you know, behind the spine it is going down, and in front of the spine, no, the other way around, behind the spine it is going up, and in front of the spine it's going down. And not that it really makes a difference, because it is also fine, you know. It can also just be one where it's going up and down for your imagination, but that's really what it is. And so that's where the life force moves, and this is how then over the nerves that come out of the vertebra, like it really reaches the whole body.
Yeah.
And in the homeland generation, who, as the name says, like home is the land, because all they do is, you know, be in voluntary quarantine all the time.
Right.
Because all they need is their device.
Their screen, yeah.
And a lot of them, you know, they really don't have any actual sensual experiences anymore. And so now with the ASMR, what happens is like they ingest another person's sensual experience.
Oh my God.
And their imagination is stimulating them, because, you know, we know that what we imagine is becoming real, like it creates our reality. And so their imagination is doing that for them, and then this creates like this high sensual experience, and then the life force, like the kundalini energy, starts to flow. And then depending if it's, you know, flowing up, they all get stimulated more, and if it's flowing down, they all get relaxed.
Sounds like a unearned movement of energy, kind of like that can really do some damage.
Yes.
Do you want to hear a nightmare story?
Yes.
When the whole ASMR trend was like starting to pick up, like someone sent me a video, and it was a video of a person, and I mean, you know me, right? And it, like, you know me, that I just cannot stand the sound of mastication.
I do know that we had our problems around that in the beginning of our relationship, because I'm mature, because the stomach doesn't have teeth.
And this, I mean, thankfully I've come a long way with that, and it's like no problem. But the point is that I opened the video, and there was a microphone and a person, and complete silence, and the person started eating an apple into the microphone. I almost screamed.
I believe you.
Because, I mean, come on. And that's a trigger for ASMR. So I wanted to share that because I thought that was really funny. I mean, it's like, this is not for me. You know, it's like, it's really intense. But I mean, I guess it like helps people like pass out or whatever, if that's the goal. But I think it's really interesting because, I mean, I've kind of observed it in ads and media and stuff like that, like just kind of getting people like to be like subliminal influences and whatnot. So I think it's overrated. I think like if you just work on your spiritual life force, you can get all these sensations, like the sensory, like the sensual experience that you're talking about.
I do not know that I can judge it as being overrated because, see, you and I both, we are very sensual people.
Yeah.
I mean, just tactile and, you know,
auditory.
Everything.
Visually.
I mean, we just love the sensual experience
Smells.
without getting attached to it.
Right.
And so...
Nice, well said.
And... I mean, of course, like for me, like you have heard me say that when Saya, like she lays at my feet, and her fur at my feet. This is like such a delicious experience. Just like the way that feels, that's unbelievable. You know, that's very sensual.
That's why she's a fur baby.
That's why she's our fur baby. That's right. Now, somebody who is mainly interacting with a screen. Does not have these kinds of experiences. And so for us, where we are like so sensual and we just really enjoy everything coming from the senses, you know, to say that this is overrated, I do not feel that I have the authority to do that. Because thankfully, I'm not in that space. And you know, guys, like if you're spiritual, you have to also know that reincarnation is a fact. And so part of my practice every day is like to really, really pray to remember all these things that I know today, so that not, you know, when I'm reborn in the next generation, that I end up like that and forget everything about if we stay with ASMR, the real sensual experience.
I think ASMR is deleting those memories.
Yes.
In the moment.
Yeah, and so...
Like, if you want to be reincarnated, like, God forbid, like, you know, you never know, God forbid, when someone is going to die. And if you're, like, in this state and you can't remember anything and someone dies, then, like, you can't really pick where you want to go. I mean, some people say, like, oh, you know, I chose my parents, I chose it. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Like, your karma, your fate chose it, but you didn't choose it.
Yeah, your energy was pulled into...
You were pulled.
The direction of, you know, the level of your consciousness.
So I think, like, mindfulness, again, it's about being excited, because I feel like this is, like, almost like entertainment. That's what I'm saying. Like, this ASMR, like, oh, I just want to, like, you know... chill out or have entertainment, but it's not really an excitement of spiritual healing or wellness.
No, not at all. It's like the same thing, and then here we go again, you know, just mentioning it. Like if I have just a one-night stand without meaning and without intimacy, and never mind without the things that I'm going to talk about in Speechless.
Yeah, and I mean... Yeah, I see what you're saying. You cannot say it's overrated, because I don't want to elicit any kind of judgment. I don't want our viewers to judge anybody, because that's not good for you, and it's, you know, certainly not good for anybody. But also just to kind of be aware of like what's out there, because I think if you're a seeker, then you can kind of just get pulled in left and right.
Yes.
And it gets dangerous, you know, hence Franklin. The movie, or one of our favorite movies, Franklin. And yeah, I just think it's something really to keep in mind. Be mindful.
Yeah, I mean, for me,
because this is ageless, not mindless.
Yeah, that's right. So for you and for me, it would be overrated, because, you know, for us to listening to something and then imagining it, and when I can just have the experience of eating an apple, you know.
This is really intense. I just absolutely right. Like I totally just had a realization for myself. There's like, you know, when I hear someone masticating, it's like it's as if I'm eating it and like I'm experiencing it myself, because I am so sensual. I mean, as an empress, you know, like I really feel all these things. But yeah, I need to tone it down a little bit. I mean, I am not eating that apple. You know, I'm not eating that popcorn. God forbid I'm not eating those chips. You know, it like you don't need to be sensual to hear that. You know, so but like I can even hear people eating bread.
Yes, I understand.
You know, so it's like I realize that now. Like there is also then like reappropriating that sensual experience. It's kind of like a gift and a curse at the same time. I can see that, like just as an empress. And which we will talk more about later.
And like I said, along the lines of, you know, making this positive, it really can help your RAS, I suppose.
My reticular activating system,
to start to really imagine things.
Yeah.
Because, you know, one exercise that I can remember, you know, from years and years ago, starting, you know, to meditate and visualize and stuff like that, is I needed to imagine that I was having a lemon in my hand and then biting into the lemon and to then really like feel the essential oil and smell.
I can already smell it.
Yeah, me too. I can even feel it on my lips, you know.
Sour.
But also the sourness and like to really create an honest to God physical experience out of it, and then take something else, like something sweet and something bitter, and like you have to see it, you have to feel it, and you have to smell it, and you have to taste it.
That's
literally.
Beautiful. And
however,
go ahead.
However, if I may finish that, it's like if you're a homeland generation kid, and you really your main interaction is with the screen. You will not have that part of the experience.
No.
You will just fantasize something, and that's not the same as using your visualization in a proper way for manifesting, and for manifesting the life you want.
Wow.
And this is also where it becomes hurtful. If not physically right away, in the long run, it will. Yeah,
because like your senses are the witness to the manifestation.
Yes, beautifully said.
Yeah, that's amazing. Because, I mean, I also know I've worked with. I just want to say one more thing to that. Like, I've worked with people. I've even known people who are also quote unquote very sensual. Like maybe they're like eccentric artists or whatever, and then they confuse that sensuality with spirituality. Like, you know, I have the sixth sense, or you know, the colors, they speak to me, and this and that. And it's like, that doesn't mean you're spiritual.
No, it's a form of hedonism.
Yeah, and here's the thing that I just want to share, like with my progress, like with the mastication, like with the being sensual and stuff, coming full circle with this podcast, I brought it onto my spiritual path. Like I didn't go down that path of being a victim to it, but I said, okay, why don't I like mastication? What does it represent? Okay, as we know, it's connected to strength, the archetype of breaking things down. Really, like, you know, removing the fate from things.
Yeah.
You know, breaking it down to something that's digestible and usable. So I realized, okay, so what's my sensory overload all about with connection to that? And then I went and I worked on that. But that's how you can make anything spiritual.
I love it, yes.
So
that's right. And if you want to watch my favorite movie in regards to mastication, and I'm not going to have a spoiler alert, I think it's called Bernie. It's with Jack Black and Shirley MacLaine, isn't it?
Is there mastication going on? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let's not talk about it.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
It's with Jack Black and Shirley MacLaine. We love them. I mean, they're amazing.
Movie.
He's a Cancer, by the way.
It's an amazing movie.
I don't know what she is, but he's a Cancer, yeah.
What another
He's a really good actor.
Yeah.
Oh, but I just thought of another one because we just saw another movie with Jack Black, like The House with the Talking Clocks or whatever.
Yeah,
or whatever,
like
with Kate Blanchett or something like that. I can't remember, but it was also a good one. Just
it was
Cancer recommendations.
Yeah, for being at home, but that was really for mastication.
So yeah, absolutely, because the month of Cancer, you know, loves food, loves, you know, healing food, healing everything. So yeah, it's a good recommendation.
Yeah.
All right, so this has been another episode of Ageless, and you've been listening to Arik
and Aurelia,
and you've just been listening to Ageless. Be sure to subscribe and listen to us everything online. We're on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, which is really easy, Google Podcasts, Spotify. We're everywhere, so subscribe and
tell your friends,
share it around, and maybe you'll be listening to us in Speechless very soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.